Hello guys, we are going to talk a horror thriller film called New Life from 2023. A lot of interesting things are waiting for you. Jessica Murdoch is on the run, and she quietly enters her house, washes her face of blood, changes her clothes, and takes her fiancé's wedding ring. She notices that the armed pursuers are already there. The girl then climbs out the window, steals a hoodie from a local craftsman, and climbs into the back of a stranger's pickup truck to escape from the pursuers. Meanwhile, Elsa Gray's colleague Raymond Reed comes to the detective agency and says that a corporation has signed a contract with them. However, she contacted them only when the situation was already out of control. Because of this, they have only 36 hours to capture the object before it crosses the Canadian border. A pickup truck driver stops to use the restroom. Jessica decides to take advantage of this. She escapes with his cookies and a map. Once in the woods, and having studied her route, the girl walks until she reaches someone's house at night. She goes to bed, remembering how scared she was in a cell. Elsa, meanwhile, looks around the building to see if there are any cameras, and Vince's assistant quickly finds a video showing the fugitive hiding in the back of a local community pastor's pickup truck. So the woman decides to get to the church where the priest was serving. Meanwhile, Jessica steals a can of soup from the barn, but she clearly doesn't expect to be caught by the owner of the house, Frank. However, instead of chasing her away, he invites the stranger to a dinner prepared by his wife, Janie. The woman watches with a smile as the girl greedily devours the food. She suggests that she take a shower before leaving, which she agrees to. However, in the bathroom, Jessica simply takes the necessary medication and leaves, saying that she has to go on. Janie insists that her husband take her wherever she needs to go, and at least now he is finally doing something useful. When they are near the car, Jessica asks to be driven to the border and asks the old man why he and his wife are helping her. He replies that this country was built on freedom, and he is not going to stand in the way of that. In the car, the girl falls asleep. At night, she wakes up and at the end of the road says that she will continue on foot. Frank asks her to take a backpack with warm clothes and canned food in the back. In parting, he advises her to be careful. Elsa, while at home, twists her leg and falls to the ground because of her sclerosis, which she hides from her colleagues and relatives. After that, her psychologist contacts her via video and introduces her to another patient, Laura, who suffers from the same disease. She introduces her to her so that she can tell her how the disease will develop. In the end, Laura assures her friend in misfortune that she will surely have unexpected hidden opportunities. Meanwhile, Jessica, having already walked some distance, stops to eat and recalls her last hike with her fiancé, Ian. Once a dog came out of the woods, and, despite her husband's objections, she decided to feed it and warm it by the fire. Elsa decides to start walking with a cane to keep her balance. Talking to her deputy Vince on the speakerphone, she looks at the photo of the fugitive, her fiancé, and the dog at the campsite. Jessica arrives in a small border town and walks into a bar asking for some work. Molly, the assistant to the owner of the establishment, initially says that they don't need anyone, and the stranger just offers them a drink. After that, the girl settles in as a guest and still gets a job as a cleaner. In the evening, while the bar is open, Jessica is washing dishes and recalls how, after that hike with her fiancé, she noticed blisters on her leg and on Ian's body. They immediately assumed that the infection came from the dog. The memories are interrupted by Molly, who decides to find out who her new friend with a bruise on her face is running from. She lies and says that she is running from her boyfriend. The girl replies that she had a similar situation with a drunken husband. When they leave work, Molly offers Jessica a place to stay because her tip won't be enough for the hotel anyway. Meanwhile, Elsa receives a call from a doctor at the local hospital who tells her that Farmer Frank's wife has come in with a severe coughing fit. The woman immediately goes to the farmer's house and enters the house wearing a radiation protective suit, telling the owners that they have been in contact with a girl who carries the Ebola virus. Elsa does not notice the woman in the yard and eventually finds her indoors, where she behaves like a zombie. When the woman and the man attack the intruder, the latter pulls out a weapon and eliminates both of the altered creatures. Meanwhile, Jessica recalls how her fiancé started coughing shortly after coming into contact with the dog, and the blisters on his body grew larger and changed. When she called the paramedics, the ambulances brought them to a building instead of a hospital, where they put a bag over her head and sent her to a cell. After a while, realizing that no one was going to let Jessica out, she decided to escape. However, she was unable to open the door. When the siren went off, she apologized to Ian and ran away. Elsa contacts Raymond and demands that he tell her what the girl they are looking for is really infected with. The man confesses that they were hired by a pharmaceutical technology center that cooperates with the government. The fact is that initially, the deadly virus was only in an experimental dog. However, the animal somehow managed to escape from the laboratory, so scientists did not have time to properly study the disease and create a vaccine. The virus has somehow mutated in Jessica's body, and it does not harm her, unlike those with whom she comes into contact. She is a very valuable object that needs to be returned to the laboratory at all costs. When Elsa asks Raymond if the fugitive knows why she is being pursued, Raymond replies that she thinks she is being pursued because of the murder of a lab worker. The woman refuses to continue searching for the infected person, saying that she already has sclerosis. Her colleague tells her that he knew this, and that's why he assigned her the case, because it would be easier for a lonely and dying employee to cope with such a dangerous task. In the morning, Jessica knocks on Molly's door, saying that she is going to the store. However, she can't answer because she has a cough and a virus that affects her organs. Meanwhile, Elsa is contacted by Vince, who uses facial recognition to identify the fugitive in a video of her in a bar. He also found out that Jessica got a job as an assistant at the bar, and after her shift, she left with an employee, Molly, who hid her address from her boss because she was afraid that her ex-husband would stalk her. That's why they don't know the girl's whereabouts yet. Elsa decides to drive to the bar herself, and on the way she sees the fugitive standing by the window. The girl also notices the woman and starts to walk away quickly. At some point in the chase, the woman who has sclerosis falls to the pavement and loses sight of the girl. Jessica runs to Molly and finds her dead body, infected with some kind of deadly virus. As she is about to leave in tears, she hears sounds coming from the girl's room. When she goes upstairs, she comes face to face with an aggressive zombie that has already been transformed, which she manages to calm down in a short fight with a few blows to the head with a frying pan. After that, Jessica notices that her hair is starting to fall out. Vince, meanwhile, finds the address of his friend Molly, where she was hiding from her ex while her friend was in Texas. Elsa arrives at the house to find a dead girl. The woman finds Jessica in another room and tells her that she is a carrier of a deadly virus that does not harm only her. The girl denies this, showing her the marks on her head. Jessica says she won't go back to the lab and tries to attack Elsa, which causes her to stab her in the stomach. After that, the girl starts to run to the border, but the woman stops her, wounding her in the leg. As a result, Jessica says that she is not guilty of anything and just wants to see the world, to which Elsa says that Frank and Janie, Molly and her fiancé Ian died because of the girl. And now the fugitive just needs to go with the woman to get tested. Jessica remains unyielding, so the woman has to shoot her in the head. After that, a distraught Elsa approaches the dying woman without any means of defense and takes her hand, looking towards the border. After a while, the woman meets with a psychologist who reassures her again, saying that her life with sclerosis is not over yet and many good things can happen. After that, his speech is unexpectedly interrupted by a sharp coughing fit.